Kia ora, good evening. I'm Hannah Wilkins. Police have named the Australian visitor who drowned in Lake Whakatipu near Glenorchy last Thursday. 35-year-old Jonathan Jordan Young from New South Wales is believed to have died while swimming out to assist a child stuck in an undertow.
Deceptively calm waters at Glenorchy hide a deadly risk. Flowers on the beach marking the spot where a young tourist drowned, the second fatal incident at the beach this month. On Monday afternoon, police named the deceased as 35-year-old Australian man Jonathan Jordan Young. They believe the man drowned while attempting to assist a young boy in the water. The younger swimmer was rescued, but Young's body was recovered by police divers last Friday. Locals say they're still in shock after the death of Wanaka resident Lincoln Kisling, who drowned here in similar circumstances in mid-January.
It's a horrible tragedy. Obviously recently we've lost the life of one person only just over a week ago.
Locals warn a temperature difference at the Reese River mouth may be making already dangerous currents more unpredictable at the confluence with the lake.
People need to know that there is a strong undertow that is taking people straight down, and under no circumstances should anybody be getting in that river.
The District Council's now put up official warning signs at the trouble spot. Both deaths have been referred to the coroner. In Queenstown, the South today.
One person is dead and another was seriously injured following two crashes near Dunedin this week.
It's believed speed and alcohol were a factor in causing this car to crash onto a bank and into a tree last night in Waikawaiti at the intersection of State Highway 1 and Thomas Street. Police confirm one person died at the scene, with another taken to hospital for serious injuries. The surviving 29-year-old man is under police guard after trying to leave Dunedin Hospital. Traffic was reduced to one lane this morning as the serious crash unit investigated the incident. And in a separate incident this morning, a crash involving a traffic management truck on Dunedin Southern Motorway caused the vehicle to lose its load. The truck crash happened around 7:30 this morning between Lookout Point and the Green Island off-ramp. No other vehicles were involved in the accident and there were no reports of injuries. However, traffic was diverted while the scene was cleared up. In Dunedin, the South today.
The body of Andrew Bagshaw, a Kiwi volunteering in war-torn Ukraine, has been found in the east of the country after his car was hit by a military shell. Andrew is the son of well-known Christchurch doctors Phil and Sue Bagshaw.
An emotional tribute to their son Andrew Bagshaw by Professor Phil and Dame Sue Bagshaw. Speaking at a press conference this morning in Christchurch, the pair confirmed the death of their 47-year-old son in Ukraine, where he was based as an aid worker. Andrew Bagshaw and a colleague, Chris Parry, were attempting to rescue an elderly woman in the city of Soledar, an area of intense military action, when their car was hit by an artillery shell.
Andrew was a selfless person. He took many personal risks and saved many lives. We loved him. We're very proud of everything that he did there.
Dame Sue Bagshaw says they did try to convince him not to go overseas to the war-torn country, but rapidly realised it was a waste of time.
He had a great affinity with the people of Ukraine. He was really admiring of their stubbornness, not to give in, and to see victory in their country.
The Bagshaws say because of legal processes, it's likely to be some time before their son's remains in Kyiv are able to be returned to them. In Christchurch, the South today.
The new proposed international airport project in central Otago is receiving further resistance. 11 New Zealand academics have written an open letter to business leaders and politicians, setting out their cases against an airport in Terrace.
Distinguished Professors Dame Anne Salmon and Sean Hendy are two of 11 signatories who have written an open letter arguing against building a new international airport in central Otago. The letter calls for the proposed Terrace Airport to be stopped, with academics from around the country coming together to raise their concerns. Christchurch International Airport Limited announced plans for the project in 2020 after buying 750 hectares of land earlier that year. The company says the site is bordered by two state highways and is less than 30 minutes drive from both Cromwell and Wanaka. But some locals are opposed to the development, which they don't believe will be good for the region or their backyards. James Hyam, Sustainable Tourism Professor at Otago University, brought the academic group, described as the informed leaders, together for the open letter. Hyam says it doesn't make sense to build a new airport at Terrace, and his colleagues believe the new airport undermines the UN's goal of net zero aviation carbon emissions by 2050. They also claim the proposed airport would put strain on the local environment and infrastructure. In Terrace, the South Today.
A $3 million project to protect an Otago Peninsula beach from erosion has created a headache for some homeowners further down the same stretch of coast. 3 rock groins were constructed on a beach at Harrington Point to hold erosion, but residents say the problem's now shifted south.
A beautiful white sandy beach near Taiaroa Head, restored for locals to enjoy. But just a few minutes south, there's evidence that erosion is accelerating. Port Otago built the 3 rock groins at Te Raoni last year in an effort to halt the erosion threatening the beach. But local residents living just south of the groins say now they're feeling the full force of ongoing erosion.
All our banks are falling away. The wave action has changed now, so it's causing devastation, and all our emergency structures that we've had to put in the past are falling down.
Locals are delighted the main beach has been saved, but say they're now relying on Port Otago to come up with a solution to the fresh erosion issues affecting their properties.
So we're waiting on Port Otago to come back. They've already admitted that what they're dredging and the shipping activity has an impact on the coastlines.
Further work could prove costly. One resident's already spent $17,000 on their own emergency rock wall. Port Otago is hoping to replenish the sand using dredging and pumping, but says any further work requires consent from the regional council. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on this edition of Southern Newsweek. A Dunedin farmer is fed up with walkers leaving a paddock gate open on his farm and is looking to exclude walkers in the future. And a blind Invercargill cyclist is on a mission to get to the 2024 Paralympics, but admits it won't be a smooth ride. Tēnā koe, welcome back. A scenic Dunedin walking track could get shut off to the public because of the laziness of some of those using the route. Farmer Doug Hall is fed up with always having to check up on his livestock, with walkers often failing to close the gate and letting his animals loose.
Doug Hall demonstrating how simple it is to lock up his gate after walking through. He opened the popular Cleghorn Street track in 1985 to allow people to enjoy his rural farmland like he does. But Hall's now considering closing off access to the track to the public because too many people using the track have been leaving the gate open and letting his livestock out.
People's attitude. They think they got the right to walk wherever they like.
Yeah.
You give them something and they just abuse it.
His cattle and sheep have been let loose 7 times over the past 2 months, where they could eat up a field of hay before he was able to notice. Hall insists the spring-loaded latches on the gate are easy to use and only take a second to lock.
I shouldn't have to go around and double check all my stock every day. You know, if people can't unlock a gate and lock it like they found it.
He plans to speak with the Dunedin City Council next week about cutting off public access, along with installing no trespassing signs and cameras along the private track. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Some Queenstown residents have questioned why it took the Queenstown Lakes District Council more than a fortnight to fix a major water leak. The delayed repairs come at a time when the council has put in place some strict water restrictions for the area.
Some Queenstown residents have welcomed the sight of council contractors finally fixing a Peninsula Road water leak along Calvin Heights. Locals say it took the council 2.5 weeks and 15 public notifications before they started work on sealing the cracked pipe, despite having imposed water restrictions across the region. Many residents were upset at the lengthy delays, while nearby Arrowtown was under level 2 restrictions, including no sprinklers and minimal hand hosing. The QLDC says they work with their contractors to prioritise work, based off severity and staff levels, which has been affected by the ongoing labour shortage. In Queenstown, the South Today.
A Wanaka man is feeling the love and support from his community after 53 consecutive days walking up Corner Peak near Hawea. Builder Glenn Thurston started out on his journey last month in an effort to raise awareness for the mental health struggle within the trade industries.
Celebrations between Glenn Thurston and his group of hikers after reaching the top of Corner Peak for the final time. Thurston's hiked the 17-kilometre Lake Hawea Trail for 53 consecutive days, reflecting the number of annual suicides in the construction industry. The Wanaka builder started the campaign on the 1st of December to raise awareness of mental health struggles with tradies. The movement gained strong support, with well over 300 people joining him over the 53 days.
Yeah, I think I'll have to sleep on it for a night to really digest it all, but yeah, it's been pretty overwhelming, the support. Like Kurt said, the community's certainly jumped on board, and it's definitely had a huge impact locally.
After dealing with depression himself, Thurston realised there wasn't enough support for men in the trade industry. He wants the campaign to be a conversation starter to help eradicate the stigma behind mental health issues.
You know, there's a lot of good people doing great things, and you know, they're up here dealing with with people and businesses, but my approach was to try and get from the bottom up and get onto the ground floor where it's happening, where people are struggling.
35 supporters reached the summit on the final day of the hike with the Turn the Corner founder. The team plan to hold an event next weekend in Lake Hawea to celebrate the achievement. In Wanaka, the South Today.
A blind Invercargill cyclist is on track to compete in a World Championship race later this year. Hannah Pascoe's ultimate goal is to make it to the 2024 Paralympics, but she admits it's not going to be a smooth ride.
An impressive haul of medals by anyone's standard, even more so when you're competing as a blind athlete. Invercargill cyclist Hannah Pascoe is training at home for the 2023 Road Racing World Championships in Scotland. As a blind cyclist, she also relies heavily on support from her partner on the bike.
Not only do I have to fundraise for myself, but I also have to financially fundraise for a pilot who's going to be in charge of, piloting the big tandem bike, and also a support person to travel internationally with.
Pascoe was born with congenital glaucoma, which means she completely lost her sight around the age of 25. It was the experience of losing her sight that spurred her to get into sport, but cycling wasn't her first foray into competition.
So I ran my first marathon back in 2013, the New York Marathon, and since then I've run 16 marathons, the last one being back in 2017.
The ambitious athlete has her sights set on the 2024 Paralympics in Paris, but her immediate goal is raising enough money to get to Scotland for the World Champs in her race to the podium. In Invercargill, the South Today.
And you can support Hannah Pascoe's campaign to compete at the 2024 Paralympics on her Give a Little page. Dunedin's Wall Street Mall is showcasing some of the city's proud history, from an old bundle of sticks through to the country's first university. The Dunedin Historic First exhibition inside the mall aims to shine a light on people and events that have helped shape the city into what it is today.
Shoppers taking in a few of Dunedin's historical firsts in a mini exhibition at the Wall Street Mall. The open area towards the back of the mall highlights some of the historical firsts Dunedin has been a part of, both nationally and internationally. Wall Street's marketing consultant Anna Schmid says the idea was inspired by the Corduroy Causeway, or early street, located underfoot in the mall, which was built by early European settlers. The mall also features a glass facade on the George Street side of the building, the large images representing the historic Dunedin Stock Exchange building that was demolished there in the 1960s.
So the importance of this was to celebrate Dunedin and tell people the story around our history.
The mini exhibition comes at a busy time, with regular cruise ships visiting the city again. Schmid hopes the displays will bring more tourists to the mall, giving them some perspective on the local history while they're browsing the various shops.
Not only bring people into the mall, where the majority of the tenants or the retailers in this mall are Dunedin, they're locally owned and operated, and this is a nice way to carry on with that theme of local base.
The Dunedin Historic First exhibition will be on display at the Wall Street Mall until the end of the month. In Dunedin, the South Today.
After the break on Southern Newsweek. In Otago, researchers' bold idea to get teenagers out of bed and off to school. And as a major bike festival got underway in Queenstown, some riders tackled an extreme bungee challenge on 2 wheels. Tēnā koe, welcome back. A Dunedin health expert is proposing an unorthodox solution to a problem of getting tired teenagers out of bed in the morning. The Otago University professor is suggesting schools should start later, especially for sleep-deprived older teens.
It's an age-old problem, how to get your reluctant and sleepy teenager out of bed in the morning. But new research suggests they're not just being lazy, there is a genuine medical explanation.
Now, when teens reach puberty, their whole sleep-wake biology changes, so they need to go to bed later in the evening, consequently sleep in the morning.
The children's health expert says forcing teens to wake up earlier than they're programmed to can impact their studies and their health.
School start times currently that are between 8:30 and 9 o'clock actually put a break on that sleep length, so teens are chronically sleep-deprived, and many of them are.
Professor Galland is one of a number of sleep researchers around the country and internationally proposing a change.
One of the simple solutions, and it's sort of a public health solution, is actually to change the school start times. 2, we advocate for 9:45 at the earliest for teens in years 12 and 13.
The researchers admit that shaking up the school day would have consequences for many families, although shortening the lunch hour to 30 minutes could reduce the afternoon disruption. They're suggesting schools should trial their proposal with older students to assess the impact on their health and well-being. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Invercargill is getting ready to host the New Zealand Disc Golf Championships in March. Interest in the sport has been growing across the country, and organisers are hoping to put New Zealand on the global map.
A big wind-up as disc golf player Calvin Cummins lets his frisbee or flying disc soar towards the goal. Invercargill is set to stage this year's National Disc Golf Championship after the city hosted the South Island Champs in 2022. 260 competitors have already registered for the ILT Southern Smash, including almost 50 players coming from overseas. Those numbers are set to make the Invercargill event the biggest disc golf tournament the country's seen.
So we're trying to put New Zealand as a whole on that disc golf radar, you know what I mean, make it an attraction for people to come here.
Johnny Ferrari helped build Queen's Park's first disc golf or frisbee golf course with his bare hands, and a few good men 5 years ago. The sport's been growing in popularity in Southland, with more than 60 dedicated members ranging in age from 7 to 83.
Quite a few of the juniors getting into it down here now, which is really good for the sport. More and more families are coming out playing. Being a free course to come play, it's really great for them all to get involved.
The sport's also popular across the country. Dunedin now has 2 courses, helping make the sport even more accessible for people to play.
And now in the last 10 years, the growth is just phenomenal. Just really many people taking it up. I mean, you know, you can spend several $100s on a whole swag of discs and a fancy bag to carry them in, or you can grab a paint bucket lid or a cake tin lid and hit the course.
The National Disc Golf Champs will be staged at Invercargill's Queen's Park Golf Club in early March, with the tournament free for spectators to come and check out what the sport's all about. In Invercargill, the South Today.
The Queenstown Bike Festival got underway last week, with a host of mountain bike and e-bike events being staged in the resort town. It's launched with a unique challenge for riders: stay on your bike as you pedal off a bridge while attached by a rubber bungee cord.
Launching off the Kawaru Bridge bungee is a challenge tackled by thousands each year. Now imagine doing that while also riding a mountain bike. Riders are secured to a giant bungee rope as they race off the narrow ramp and hurdled 43 metres down towards the river. Local crews have been testing out the specially built bike bungee ramp this month at the AJ Hackett attraction.
We're doing freestyle bungee. The guys have set up a ramp off the side of the bridge, attaching themselves to a harness and a bungee cord, and put the bike in between there and pedal off and try and do some stuff.
Riders are loving their daring jumps, carrying their bikes back up the hill with huge grins on their faces.
Oh man, the riders are loving it. You know, real nervous when you watch them start. They're sort of like up there and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. But as soon as they've done the jump, they sort of come up from the bottom and they grinning ear to ear, really. So loving it.
Spectators are being treated to a show and a half, as riders are overcoming their fears to perform backflips, no-handers and twists while soaring through the air.
Yeah, it was mean, unreal feeling, just the free falling, and yeah, it was sick.
The extreme event was the opening party for the Queenstown Bike Festival, which features 30 different mountain bike events across 10 days. In Queenstown, the South Today.
A new interactive act has been added to this year's Bread and Circus World Buskers Festival in Christchurch. Guru Dudu's silent walking tour dances to its own beat and is proving a hit among the crowds.
Perfect timing. Here we go.
More than 30 people dancing their way through the streets of Christchurch as bemused crowds of punters relaxing along the Oxford Strip watch on. The participants in Guru Dudu's silent walking tour groove along to a soundtrack in their headphones, playing a mix of popular disco and funk only they can hear.
That was incredible.
I really enjoyed it.
So fun. You just feel like almost invisible, but in front of everyone.
It was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, super fun.
It was really good. Really fun.
This new act for the Bread and Circus World Buskers Festival is proving popular, with sellout crowds for each session.
I think it reminds people that we're never too old to play, and how important play is in building community, and that we can all get along. If we all just respect each other and have a bit of a laugh and a dance with each other.
The event's attracting a wide range of participants, all keen to dance in their own styles.
They love the old classics like YMCA goes off, ABBA, the Bee Gees, they all go incredibly well. I love doing sing-alongs.
For the end of a work day, it was just the pick-me-up I think we all needed.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great.
But with Guru Dudu's not-so-silent walking tour rapidly becoming a festival hit, joining in the walking dance tour could be a bit of a challenge. In Christchurch, the South Today.
That wraps up this edition of Southern Newsweek. For the latest news and videos from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube and Facebook to catch our news bulletins on demand. We'll see you again next week. Mā te wā.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.